Enough, not a ton of Dokkaebi banning, zero in fact so far. I feel like with time, going on further and further into this stage 1, I can't tell if we're gonna see everyone just playing Dokkaebi and tanking the call, taking 40 damage, because that's been kind of the theme so far today, or if we're gonna start transitioning into target ban the Dokkaebi because people realize, oh, it's not just scrims that she's strong, she's actually really good also in Pro League games. This is the thing, when you play practice behind, closed curtains, like not playing under pressure and stress of winning the same way as in Pro League, you might play operators and with a certain result. And you go into Pro League game day and it's not quite the same. So I'm curious if pro players expected Dokkaebi to be this oppressive. I'm sure they did because everyone's been complaining on social media about it. But slowly starting to see it more and more as we go on. Yeah. Even here.
Of course, it depends. It's the nature of the game right now. Is we have so many different ways to play a round of attack, whether you want to lean into the shields, whether you want to lean into the info gatherers, whether you want to lean into the operators that really deal with Hell in a Cell positions like your Capital Grim. There's a million ways to get the job done. It's all about what matters for this specific round, the specific bomb site, the way that your opponent is playing. Dokkaebi we saw a lot of on that Fortress map between G2 and GK. I'd love to see it here, especially in the hands of some of these Falcons. Fraggers, they start on the attacking side, which on a normal day would not be ideal for Cafe, but you never know. Times are changing, and in the current meta with the number of oppressive attacking operators, I mean, Solid Snake into Dokkaebi, we've had so many good attackers join recently. We've had some buffs on the attacking side a lot. We talked a little bit about Zafia, probably my most excitable sleeper change in the new season is the Zafia change. So yeah, we'll see what Rebels can do about it because they are going up against a very formidable opponent, and they've got Doom cross-mapping Marto from the other side out exterior park. He's on top of the bloody shed, and he's already found a quick pick.
He was just shooting the window, man, and because the DLR 2-taps in the chest, even from that distance, is absurd. And it's Scopos as well, active gadget, trying to roam, technically has 2 lives. Sort of, or 2 health bars, should I say. And now we're fighting. We're a bit desperate. Feno trying to take down Solotov, almost succeeds, but he does have 1 point of health left remaining on that ace. He has both flashbangs and still massive bucket. Doesn't want to die, but will get taken out eventually. Great vault boost there from Feno to get the angle correctly. And let me help him from the top as well. So Falcons, even now, 4 versus 4. But with Lemish low on health, it is still technically the advantage. So Breedy back on shields. He's been very happy to play the shields the last, like 6 months or so. He's really starting to get better and better and better at it. Falcons didn't really have much of shield action for most of Shaco's days on this roster, and when they made a shift towards shield being shield heavy, it kind of made life harder for them. Just started skylight of the Dokkaebi phone call information, gets a freebie as well, and they're in the middle of the building, but it's not the bomb site. Second call goes out, new player. Lem is targeted, hurt, and shot down, leaving just Asta left alive in a 1v4 against Dokkaebi with a call and a blitz.
Oh man, it's
time
to put Asta under the pump. He's about to get called by the Dokkaebi. He's going to have to answer his phone or be very vulnerable. Nitro goes down. Does it kill the blitz? Indeed it does. Goodbye to Breedy, but Asta's taken 40 damage, and he'll get wallbanged by users. That is Dokkaebi in a nutshell. Massive round from users, tearing a new one for Rebels with that new operator rework.
Kind of disgusting, to be honest. I mean, the SMD-12 is doing so much work in that round, and I mean, no surprise, it's Falcons, the confidence, the saying, 3-1 is pushed together, and it's sharing top. The way Doom got that opening pick, just like window banging, the Scopos of Marto is just, it's such a rough way to start off a Cafe round. You're defending, you're feeling safe, and you can't even leave the bomb site, man.
Yeah, look, we knew that this was going to be a hard time for Rebels. Last time these teams met in kickoff, it was a 7-1 domination for Falcons. And, I mean, a replay of that kill from Doom really just adds insult to injury for poor Marto. Didn't get to play this round. Users had a stellar performance on that Dokkaebi as well. And it's funny, that second kill he got, when he was upstairs in bar after dropping the skylight, he got that kill not because of the new part of the gadget with the Jago payload, right? Not the damage, not the fact that the defender had to answer his phone, but just the fact that the phone was ringing. I mean, that was the value of Dokkaebi back in the day. That was what we all picked her for, so that you could get the audio cue if hearing a player was nearby. That's still there. Yeah, you got the damage, but just the basic, already fundamental ability to make someone make noise, that is so valuable in itself.
Also, the way he got the kill beneath the skylight vaulting down was like my earlier point, where when the defender's getting called and answering the phone, it shows in the UI for Dokkaebi. So users knew that they were answering, they couldn't fight back, they get the freebie, another freebie right here. Solotov holding the angle from Snow Door into his pillar, takes down a Lemch. And they're kind of baiting for Marto, who's hiding top floor and Scopos, but it didn't feel like it was worth it for a second, but actually it's gonna turn up to get 1-for-1 trade with Fenrir getting the kill. He falls back towards White Staircase, and Mato goes back into the washroom on top floor, trying to bait the Scopos. So that really is playing for the roam game on the second and third floor here.
For Falcons, though, it's a lot of dry peeking. Solotov's guilty as that. Just inside of reading, looking for something. He's actually gonna get Nitro Cell. That's I believe, a blind Nitro from Fenno. He's just tossed it onto the wall of laundry. He might not realize Solotov is down. Falcon's going to waste so much time trying to pick him up. User says he might be salvageable.
They entered from the middle floor, right? They skipped top floor controls. They're attacking the middle of the building, but they can't clear, the top floor portion from the staircases. So this position from Fenno on White Staircase, baiting for Mato behind them in bathroom, it's a very strong position. Rebels, though, have to be careful. If they lose a player at red stairs, lose access to the bomb side. They cannot afford to lose that.
Problem is here, like you said, they're tunnel visioning on Fenno. They don't realize Mato's up here as well. If Fenno can somehow fall back, make them think it's clear,
run,
then it might actually lend Mato the ability to go for a flank in the late round.
Oh.
And indeed, that's exactly what happens. Mato finds one and immediately goes back to the bomb site.
And this, my friends, is why you almost exclusively attack top floor down on Cafe, because if this ever happens, you get sandwiched from top floor, you just can't play the round as an attacker. And now it's gonna get even more awkward. They sprinted past the mute on top floor, and they're gonna go all the way down towards the base and bomb side. But now they're gonna have defenders above them. Marto continue back top floor. Fenno is already there. The flanks are wide open, and the attackers are down the player already in this 3 versus 4 with low health member of Solotov. It's gonna get worse. They keep falling. A good trade though, but 20 seconds left to go. They gotta push right now.
Yeah, and this is when Fenno can start coming back towards the bomb site, threatening these last two players. Solotov is low on HP because it was Users who went down. No skeleton key to unlock that garage door into Freezer. Linku easily has the position. He'll get traded, doesn't matter.
Beautiful.
Mato is there as well after teleporting back to the bomb side. That's a very solid round from the Rebels.
I'm curious if Falcons had pre-placed drones top floor and thought top floor was completely clear and had just like missed Fenno on the floor on like White Staircase, and obviously they missed the Marto on the Scopos, or if they just kind of made a play in the spur of the moment. They had the drone, the scanner, they checked, they rushed into library, and then they get stuck. And this is why I was saying you pretty much always clear top floor down, or just ignore the floor above the bomb site and just go for a direct attack. Because if you start entering library, mining and train directly with skipping top floor control, you gotta go all the way back outside the building, go to the roof, open the hatch, or rappel in a window, and all of that has a ton of sound cues. Rappelling makes noise, rappelling in the building makes noise, driving down the hatch makes noise. It's very predictable what you're gonna be doing as an attacker, and it's why you start 5 people on the roof and you work your way down. Now there's no flanks to work about. Starting in the middle, you start flanks open.
That's why typically I think teams are trying to use Solid Snake a little bit more on Cafe, because in theory it can expedite the process. You can be rappelling outside the building.
You could.
And run around using the new advanced rappel. I mean, it's been out for a year now since CGX came out. But you can just sprint around the outside of the building and say, oh, clear, 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 and pretty much clear most of the top floor without having to pre-place drone. Because pre-placing drones is very hard on Cafe. Are you kidding me? Where's Fino found this early kill? That was from the piano windows. Rebels are really bringing a lot of fight to Falcons.
Oh, that's a bummer. I mean, this is a pretty common debate in my rank stacks. It's like, if you spawn on like Christmas Market or Back Alley, you're kind of like low-key trolling, because like people get spawn peeked there all the time.
Dude, people get spawn peeked everywhere.
You can, but I still think going like docks is by far the safest. You go docks, left-hand side, there are 2 angles to worry about. Snowball runout and the double window next to the main door. That's like less angles than the other positions, if you ask me. But regardless, it's like playing Canal back in the Pro League, back in year 1. Like Sisu, European team, their whole playstyle back then was a 5-man spawn peak, everyone on defense, and you just couldn't make it to the building. And if you want to be oppressive at that on Cafe, you can totally 5-man spawn peak and just make it hell to get to the damn building in the first place.
I'm a back alley enjoyer personally.
Nope, never spawn back alley. I personally, of course. I did it once, I died.
Christmas market's the scariest for me.
It is
Too many
scary.
mistakes on Christmas market.
Those damn piano windows, man, and like red window jump out, and bakery double door, impact run out, and ugh.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And the garage door prone pig. Oh man.
Yeah, don't get me started on that one.
Too much. Well, it looks like Falcons starting to fall apart. Good info here from
they pinged the C4 earlier, so
cameras. Yeah, I think Falcons aren't going to fall victim necessarily to a pre-placed.
Ooh, they are.
The cameras are still going to give them lots of info. C4's gone, right?
I guess it's gone, yeah. I thought it was still there, to be honest with you. Location lock. Oh, it is still there.
Oh, no, there is a C4. Okay.
And they were on the camera.
Well, it doesn't matter, I guess, because Brede has gone down to Theno anyway.
What's happening this round? Like, this is a jammer.
Yeah, I mean, this round is pretty irredeemable here for Falcons, and as I say that, it comes a 1v5.
My friend.
Yeah, he's not going to be long for this world. It is not fun. God. Finally, the C4 comes out. Flawless for Rebels. The tables have turned, Pengu, and we see little bro take the lead.
It feels like Falcons are experimenting with a different playstyle from the usual norm. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it feels like they're trying to play a bit looser, a bit more on the field, and a bit more like unpredictable, in-your-face, off-pace style. I feel like League Effect has always been an individual who liked playing this way. Like, he would go for backsteps and solo plays and try and get in the middle of the building out of nowhere. But this is more like the whole roster being a bit more careless and carefree. And when you're up against stuff like Mussy, Valkyrie, they're gonna know what you're doing. I mean, they literally had information on 3 attackers the entire round. And mind you, one guy got spawn peeked. There were only 4 attackers left alive when they got to the building. When you're up against a ton of information, like traps, you typically want to slow down your own gameplay and, you know, get like the IQ involved, or in this case, ban the Valkyrie, get rid of it. Because the issue is, if they know where you are constantly, it's just not going to work in your favor. So like, get Twitch in there, get IQ in there, get a shield in there again maybe, because like things are open. Curious though on this like second half of this attack for Falcons, if they're gonna do like a big change up and approach the rounds differently, because this current style is not really working. It's being well punished by Rebels.
It makes you wonder, is the play to go for a really methodical, no stone left unturned play style? We're clearing everything. We're starting from step 0, and we're doing every single little thing that we need to do to make sure we have map control. Or do we play a little bit of risk, a little bit of gap finding? It's a tough call. The big things here is, well, primarily the traps between the Thorn and the Melusi will make it hard to rush, and there'll be fewer gaps. But also the clash means if you choose the wrong space, you're going to be essentially trying to fight an immovable object. Wow. Who wants to peek that?
Yeah, it's the pressure though. I mean, Rebels is just saying, you know, we're gonna make you get into the building difficult, we're gonna fight you in the windows, you shouldn't feel safe anywhere. Really has to consider also, like, could he get C4'd out here if he drones in the wrong location, for example. And when you're on Capital, you're always in the back of your head being like, I can't die, I'm so valuable, I gotta use my gadget first, then I can die. So they're trying to play the min-max, the nade, the fire, the candelas, the smokes. Are they gonna do anything with this? Yes, we're playing piano and the white hallway. They're in the building, but there are no enemies to be found. Where are they?
I like the rotate hold created by the shotgun from Solitov, but like you said, there are no defenders to be found. Rebels continue falling back. There's one C4 from Asa as Marto's just swapped shells again. I don't know where his inactive shell is.
That could've been so
Here's a
good.
nice nitro cell, but unfortunately it misses. I don't think Ass is going to be able to pick it back up again. That would have landed perfectly.
Just stuck on the middle portion. If it's on the soft wood panel itself, you can actually shoot the wood and it falls back down. But when it clips the metal, that's not breakable, so C4 is lost. There was a droning leaky fag as well, so he would have been dead for sure. Good read, but doesn't land. 60 seconds to go. Falcons still in the weaker position of the two teams. They gotta do a bit of vertical. We're gonna walk down the wide staircase and attack dining. Do we take reading on control? Do we do a fast take on mining? Like, what's the plan gonna be? Because the problem is, there's gonna be thorn traps, Lucy banshees, and also the clash that doesn't really have any counterplay left available here from Falcons. Have a single grenade left in pocket and flashbang. Are we retaking? Oh, we are retaking.
This is awkward. Linko goes straight upstairs, but is immediately covered off by Users, who's watching from washrooms. Quick on the trade. The Lems went straight back down again. The clash difficult to take down, but I believe that's the inactive shell from Marto that's been finished off.
Oh, hell.
Meanwhile, the active shell gets very active indeed, and Falcons slip the numbers. Elems is still up and alive on this clash. That makes it very difficult to execute now for Leakafak and Brede as the last two of them try and execute into mining. Asta out of ammo with the SMG-11. The shotgun comes to life for one, but Leakafak, no HP and no chance of getting that plant down. Rebels 3 in a row. And Elems is very happy to fire up against his old team.
Going on? I mean, this is Rebels playing Chaotic Siege in a good way. Right, that round, for example, they start strong top floor, they immediately sprint downstairs, then it's a late round right stairs retake. They're like just throwing a curveball at Falcons. They're thinking, oh, the round is stabilized, we can go for our 1, 2, 3 execute. No, you can't. We're flanking wide staircase, we're hiding pillar, we're going for fights, and Falcons can't find safety anywhere in Cafe. They gotta worry about the C4s downstairs, the window peaks, the retakes, the flanks are open, but they also need information, right? So do they play information attackers like your Solid Snake Demos? Do they play execute like the Yin Capital? But they also actually need soft breach, then they need hard breach, they need flank watch no matter gridlock. It feels like they need like 8 different attackers to play the game, and they only get 5. Is that a Lem's mic peaking like crazy?
I don't know if you saw, but Lem's had a big reaction after that round. Very, very excited.
I mean, he was the captain of this roster once upon a time, if you go far enough back to the BDS days.
Of course, back long-time teammates with Brede, teammates with Leakafak for quite some time. Raised a major championship trophy way back in Jönköping, before he and Renshiro were replaced by Solotov and Users back in the day. And that was 2024, after missing the 6 Invitational in that the, at the time, Team BDS roster finally made changes to what had been, up until that point, a full French roster. They decided to bring in a Turk and a Brit.
And
only recent... Exactly, and only after this 6 Invitational, 2 years later, did they make their next roster change, which was to dump Shaiko and bring on Doom.
You make it sound so... They dumped Shaiko and picked up Doom. I don't know what happened because like closed doors, right? But from the documentary that Falcons put out, they actually knew that Shaiko was leaving after SI, I believe, or after the event.
Yeah, well, there was a great moment. I think we talked about it on the show before, and maybe in kickoff. But there was a great moment in that documentary that Falcons put out, where Shaiko actually was the one in one of their post-match debriefs that said, "Hey guys, you know, I've been thinking, like, what if this just doesn't work? Like, what if we just..." It would sound like he was talking to, like, you know, a partner of 10 years, you know, basically ready to serve the divorcee papers. Like, it was like saying, look, we've tried everything we can. You know, we've been to marriage counseling. Maybe it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to realize that you've tried everything and it in fact is not working, because they ended up with Falcons, you know, going to grand finals and losing, which is phenomenal to go to grand finals, right? But they want to win. That's what they're built for. And then instead of like slowly bleeding out and hating your teammates and, you know, getting frustrated every single day, you depart with all that resentment, and now you're both in quote-unquote better places and everyone's winning, right? Shaiku's never seemed happier, more engaged in social media and content creation and interviews than ever in just a few weeks in T2. So I say win-win.
Well, maybe not a win for Solotov, who's just copped a bullet to the back of the skull. Thanks, Leakafak. Thank you, Cap. There was a moment where it looked like Falcons were going to get back into the game, get their heads back into it. Instead, Leakafact put Solotov's head in the ground. This is a very important kill, much needed one. Another missed C4 from Asa. That's twice in this game so far. A big flank from Marta. I can't believe the Scopos play we're getting here from Rebels. And I can't believe how sloppy this looks from Falcons. Leakafact 1v4. Good luck. You're going to need it. Marto has just TP'd all the way back upstairs, but his inactive shell is still, I believe, aggressive in small bake. He could go back if he wanted to, but a C4 from Alems will not miss. That will land again. A lot of energy from him. 4 rounds to 1 for Rebels. And the younger sibling is starting to make a big statement. One more round. If they get a 5th in a row, surely Falcons are in dire straits.
You have to definitely question the mental state of things, you know, from getting spawn peek to team killing to not getting the building to not getting to execute. Like, there are so many small things that are happening and going wrong for Falcons that would never be the case. It's not like, oh, they've been great in entries, but they can't execute. Oh, they almost planted, but they didn't get the entries. Like, they've been falling short almost every single step of the way, and I will praise Rebels. I think this is Rebels playing well, more so than Falcons playing poorly, but this is not the Falcons level that we're expecting and used to from the many previous seasons. But it definitely feels like Rebels have come to this with a clear game plan and they're sticking to it.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, dead set. And look, they're not changing things that are still working. You look at, you've got Marto on
Scopos, man.
Scopos for the 5th time in this half. Meanwhile, we see for the very first time the Pulse come out. Yeah, I think this is the most Scopos I've ever seen in a single match of professional Rainbow Six Siege. Maybe the most Scopos I've ever seen in any game, including any casual or ranked game. But I just want to shout out the Pulse. First time we're seeing it. Now, Nick, you mentioned... Oh, look at this. That was peaky. He faked out the barricade. The Pulse, you mentioned to me before we started the show today, micro buff. A 1.5 meter increase in the Pulse range, but add to that the fact that Pulse got the Reaper not too long ago, and it's a very attractive pick these days.
Yeah, it's one of those operators like, you know, your Sledge, your Frost, your Pulse, very like old school operators. Same with Castle before it got the buff, we can put the Castle barricades over regular barricades. It's operators that just need a little bit of quality of life increase. They're very simple operators, do a very niche thing, but they do it very well and they feel very good to play. Pulse getting a 1.5 meter increase to his scanner is not gonna make or break the game, but it is gonna give you a couple of new spots where you can now get information that you couldn't do before, and it's gonna make it a little bit more lucrative. And with Valkyrie being banned, what better operator to kind of substitute that ban than the Pulse? It is kind of like one or the other. And then they're doing more information and denial with Mossy, who also got buffed. The Mossy Pest radius is now larger and covers much more of a single door window, so you have a much higher success rate of capturing a drone.
Talk about small changes that make a big difference. Only a 25 centimeter increase in the radius of Mossy Pests, but it makes a big difference. Solotov on the entry, talk about operators that have had changes. Gridlock's also had a small change, buff and nerf. And she's trying to make her way forward, but she gets nuked out of this world by the other Aussie. It's Fenno on the Mozzie. And Falcons just again looking stalled out.
Remember when I said like they need flank watch, verticality, shield, entry, like they need everything, right? They play double flank watch, nomad gridlock. Now they have no IQ, they can see forward again. It's like they're always missing something and then getting punished by Rebels. But it's the attackers who have attacker retake where they can change the operators. The defenders are locked in from the beginning of prep phase. Bonchap goes out, June barely survives it. He does get a kill as well to Linko, but again, how do they push the bomb side? Can they get the verticality? The answer is yes, because the Ram is so extremely fast at getting that job done. But the flanks are open, the Pulse has information reading corridor. Down goes into the laundry hatch, has to make a play.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Asta's made his way up from the stairs. He's about to find Usus. Usus is watching. I think he might have the read. He's still at the shot, but the timing is off. Doesn't matter, he still gets it. However, Joom has fallen. Now on the bomb side, Bride goes for the plant. Marto finds a double. Usus now in a 1v2, but there is no hope in this world of him getting to the bomb side in time. and the clock will be his worst enemy. It is 5 rounds straight for Rebels Gaming.
Is getting away with a... We said big brother versus small brother, but at this point, the small brother is getting away with a lot. You could pose that question two ways, though. Is this a good job from Rebels, or are Falcons doing a pretty poor job on the attack here?
I think both. I think both. Good job from Rebels. Last time we saw them play against Falcons, they really struggled. It looked like a big mentality thing. It looked like they were really just respecting Falcons too much. What do they do here on their defenses? They get out, they get aggressive. They're playing a lot of operators that allow them to be proactive rather than reactive. They're not giving Falcons space, and then when they do, they're eventually layering it and falling back. Really, really good, solid game plan and the right attitude to turn up with.
I think it's a mix of two things. I think it's a mix of, on one side, we have a Falcons that is trying to go step by step, trying to be methodical, but they're not necessarily going for the easy takes. They're always trying to problem solve what is in front of them.
Yeah.
And that is, in part, the problem, because they're going through a layered defense.
Yeah.
And I think that Rebels are especially good with this because of one player, and that player is Marto. He's been playing Scopus 5 rounds out of 6. He's been the first layer of defense, burning time, or even better, getting an opening pick. In fact, they got 4 opening kills in a row right now. And so when I look at this roster, I look at a roster that has found a recipe for success. Part of the team is trying to burn time early on, whether it is with the C4, whether it is with the Pulse or the Scopus. And then the rest of the team at the core, it's Mute Shotgun, it's Tuberao, it's utility-based operators that are there to burn time. Marto, I said he needed to step up as the IGL.
Yeah.
He was the worst performer on the roster during kickoff. And let's be honest, jumping into Tier 1 is never easy. Right now, first game of Stage 1, playing against Falcons, a team that attended 4 Grand Finals in a row. He's stepping up 6-1 and playing the pivotal role with the Scopus, and that's beautiful to see. But they were in defense. They abused legitimately the best side here, Jack. And so what is going to happen on the second side? That's my main question.
Yeah, and they've still got to prove that to us. Just very quickly on Falcons as well. It's almost... Cafe is now considered somewhat an attacker-sided map by a lot of people because you can bring all of the cheese operators and just take, you know, path of least resistance. You can bring the Dokkaebis, you can bring the snakes, you can do all that type of stuff and just quickly execute onto site. Falcons did none of that. They tried to play traditional and they got absolutely punished. It looked like a Cafe of old that was considered the most defender-sided map in the pool.
So what Falcons are doing right now makes a lot of sense. Banning a Dokkaebi, banning a Grim, for example, kind of disallowing Rebels to play that playstyle that could really lead into an attacker-favored Cafe. They're going to need it, though, because they're on a round deficit so far, going into the second half for Falcons.
Bit of a surprise to see the 5-1 half, but honestly, the upsets, the storylines, the potential, and the competition being higher than ever feels pretty good. Because going back to just a couple months into the past, we're thinking Falcons are going to win 9 out of 10 times. We'll just close their eyes, their opponent will just guess, Falcons wins. This is going to change the story a little bit. Is Falcons going to rot? Are Rebels, you know, top dog, dark horse material? GK shoulda, woulda, coulda taken down G2 just a few moments ago. It's shaping up EML to be a bit of a question mark, which I, for one, quite enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Falcons, obviously huge pickup with Jim just for kickoff. They go into the major, they do pretty well. As the desk highlighted in the pre-show for today, they were one of the only teams to actually get a best-of-3 victory over the eventual finalist, Shopify Rebellion, and that was a very solid 2-0 in Phase 1. You move into Phase 2, they look solid over teams like NIP, like Virtus Pro. They only end up losing to the reigning world champs of FaZe Clan. And they nearly got a map off of them as well. Coming back home domestically, we expect them to go big. Nice. And June finally fires up a little bit for Falcons. Takes a bit of damage on his escape, thanks to the Ram. But at least he's taken down that oh-so-crucial operator before it can deal too much utility damage.
Target acquired.
As well as these Rebels, they lost their Vert operator, they lost the entry duel, and they're just going to like fight these kind of odd angles outside the building, main door, wedding window. They're, I guess, expecting Falcons to keep up the aggression and hoping to punish them on one of those kinds of swings. But what you really need on Cafe is a foot in the building, because it's so hard to get that initial control to work off of. this right here can give them that. They get the first pick, in they go, work the window, try and lock down those angles. When they get a couple of rooms like they do right now, they can start droning and working out the crossfires and using their utility. And they can find a player long disc, and they can find a player in VIP in the back portion, or a player in the side.
Yeah, this is great. I love how quick Rebels are to spring and pounce on the control that they have gained for themselves. However, they might have gotten a little bit too ahead of themselves here. And Brede, inside of VIP, is able to do a hell of a lot of damage. So Falcons restabilize a little bit. That doesn't mean that they'll crack a smile, though. Look at Brede, very serious. It's so funny, isn't it? Right after watching G2, you talked a little bit about how Shaiko looks like he's much happier now. I feel like G2 and Falcons almost could not have more opposing cultures.
Yeah.
What different environments for these teams. And for Joom, I mean, coming from the old Secret team, what a different environment for him as well.
Yeah, that's what Doki spoke about also pretty commonly in interviews. Like, he really loves the current team atmosphere in G2 and how much fun they're having and how they can, like, be losing a game, but it still feels like they're winning because mentally they're not, like, booming out. And this is a common talking point, not just in Siege Esports, but across their entire team of great players. When they lose a bad round or a bad moment or somebody makes a mistake, it kind of blows up into a much bigger problem and mental boom. You start arguing or fighting, or you lose your enjoyment in the server and everyone's playing worse and communicating less and less willing to help each other. It goes a long way to have the right team culture, which is why making roster changes is so much more than just, oh, this guy went 1-9 or this guy has bad stats or whatever. There's so much behind the scenes that we'll never truly get to witness unless we get to one of those rare moments, you know, documentaries behind the scenes that some teams are doing, like, for example, Falcons last year. Super insightful. But you're right. It's a stark contrast between Falcons' seriousness and how they need to be the best in the world, and how G2 are the biggest memers who end up being one of the best in the world.
Two very different mentalities, two different philosophies to reach, in theory, the same destination. Yeah. But at their worst, we've seen where it takes them moments like, are we pushing wide or
Lumba? That clip is like,
we've all seen those moments.
The biggest League Effect fan.
Oh, that Nitro Cell may be the biggest League Effect fan. Asa is taken down. He himself failed his Nitro lineups time and time again, and now he gets a taste of his own medicine. Rebels, for what feels like the first time in a hell of a long time, severely on the back foot.
Maybe it's just defender diff right now, keeping that pressure and shutting down the injuries. And here we see Marto creeping on him, but he's being hurt, pre-fired, injured, and confirmed by uses. This Rebels playing very much like the lone wolf kind of game. Solo into pillar, going on the window repels, but they do find one into 90 towards the white staircase. The Lems find solo tough. They've lost the sledge. They've lost that majority vertical player, and Joom is hiding but shut down. No drone, no intel, just seen by Linko from long bar.
I'm reloading.
Yeah, that's how you slip a 5v3 lead, by the way.
Oh my god.
He's trying to repeat. Oh, peel away.
No way.
A Lems quickly gets a kill as the wall was being reinforced.
Disaster.
And now another player to fall for Falcons. Surely not a 5v3 to a 2 versus 3. Likafak and Brito killing a hell of a lot of weight on their shoulders. Now Likafak will win his fight with a TCSG. Much needed. Now he'll peel back behind the bomb, create an escape route down the hatch. 2v2. And another missed opportunity. Fenno almost had a free kill. Him and Linko need to link up now. That nade is certainly not going where it was intended to. This is very winnable. 50, or rather 30 seconds for Rebels to get it done.
You gotta tag mining here, I think. The issues with crossfires are so nasty with those holes in the floor and the walls. League Effect finds that deep angle. Now the issue is how do you get in, Linko? I don't think you do, but 20 seconds. Now watching both of these interways with those nasty lines of sight. It's easy in hand. League Effect waiting for that right moment to strike.
Ooh, that's an interesting play. Shooting the fire extinguisher, but of course it doesn't work. The angle is easily held by Falcons, and thankfully they do not forfeit their 5 versus 3 lead in the end. 2 rounds of defense in a row for them, which makes 7 rounds on the defensive side in a row. Only 1 round of attack in this game so far.
If you want to get very specific there for the 2v2, right? There's actually a really simple way that I think Rebels could have like guaranteed won the round, more or less. In the 2v2, they had about 40 seconds when they're kind of figuring out what to do. If they take Linko with the gridlock and you actually walk into reading, into pillar, and you go by the soft wall leads to red, you actually shotgun the back portion to avoid the crossfire from Leagyfak and his teammate. And then you're in the red hallway. Then you shotgun the red hallway wall behind the mining engine, and now there's no lines of sight. They can't shoot you. Instead, they walk through the double door, they walk into those like nasty angles, they die. There was a world where they could just shotgun the soft walls and kind of avoid all those angles because there's an air jab placed earlier from Fenno above the mining double door, meaning that nobody from Falcons could push into them. Then they're forced to like flank around Danny and go into the hallway and all that kind of stuff, and that's just a bit of a mess, and it's thrown into the wrong position. So again, like, very specific problem solving is possible in those 2v2s. The issue is having all that knowledge and foresight while you're playing the game in the server, call-outs, getting shot, etc. And that's where an operator like Monty changes the game. Because you can make those decisions so much easier and so much clearer when you have a shield in front of your face and don't have to worry about dying in the server.
Still plenty of time here, and Rebels have not fully let go of their lead. It's like it's time. Yeah, slow and steady. Let's just start from the very top of the map and make our way down. I think that's the right call here. Now, we've talked about the gridlock changes. The most notable change, if you're playing gridlock, is that you no longer have 4 track stingers, just the 3. Now, technically they are a little bit more powerful. They add the limping effect after you walk into them. They're also a little bit harder to shoot now, have a little bit more HP, but the big thing is you have 1 less. So you have to be a lot more selective with where you place them. Can't just spam them everywhere all over the map. But I love, again, we saw this from Falcons, it didn't work, but Rebels are going for the double flank operators, the gridlock and the Nomad together.
Oh my god, I haven't seen the cigar angle in ages. So you shoot the hatch, and then in that same, pillar software, you can like shoot through the hatch in throughout the angle into deep cigar and get almost a kill on monster. That's huge. But Zoom goes down. C4 up in the window frame is beautiful and takes down limbs as well. It's a nasty C4. But they got the glass Monty working together, and plant could be possible.
This is very risky. We have this. Mato wants to go for the plant. Doesn't have his chance as of yet. The smoke likely to subside in a brief moment. Fenno has found another pick from his rappel. A C4, yes, in the wrong position though. It does find a player, but not the planter, forcing users into a very awkward spot. Plant down and a Monty still up. He's got 3 Zoto canisters, which are nice in theory, but he's not going to be able to do a lot with them. There's a free kill onto Asta, but as you say, the Skylight still to be dealt with. And realistically, not a lot of good ways of dealing with this Monty. Now he's going to be limping. He can't sprint anymore because of the track. It's going to happen again. So much damage. What an awkward way for users to find himself. And up above the hatch, Alems is lying in wait. See you later, and Falcons, you gotta be careful because you've just let the lead slip. It's 6-3, match point for Rebels.
Oh man, I like Rebels' kind of like unorthodox playstyle there. Monty Glass into Cigar. The Cigar double door to Piano was castled off by the defenders, and it gave them so much coverage because they can kind of skip taking Piano and worrying too much about it, despite having, air jabs and stuff like that could help them take control. And they just simplify the attack. They go in with the smoke grenades, get the plant down, the glass becomes the entry, and they had a post-plant player on the Skylight. So even if Monty died or whatever, it is basically unlosable unless you really mess it up individually. And the C4s were great. They got 2 C4 kills, but they probably hit the 2 least relevant players in the server, and therefore the result not what they wanted.
New camera feed up and running.
Attackers have located a
What would it mean for Falcons to lose their first game to the little French team that could? The Rebels after...
Wake-up call?
Yeah, I think it must be.
I mean...
Obviously, Falcons expected to go deeper at Salt Lake City. You can't blame them too much when they lose to a team like FaZe, but again, like, kickoff was dominant. There's 7 7-1 over Rebels,
seconds left.
and a 7-1 over
UAV
Twisted
active.
Minds. A lot of big
5
wins.
seconds left before insertion.
On the flip side to that, I mean, Rebels really struggled. Got absolutely obliterated by Falcons.
You're a big shot,
Obliterated
huh?
by Twisted Minds as well. They saw a lot of things that they did all right, and they can take into future stages, and clearly Rebels came back with a bit of a vengeance. Oh, here we go. Speaking of vengeance, look at them go for it. Uses with the pistol, finds one. Not going to get traded by Linko
What?
here.
Come
No,
on.
never mind. Uses jumps straight up and finds a kill. Doubling down, he holds on to Bakery and puts Rebels in all kinds of strife.
It's not a case of like half a second difference here from Rebels and they get a 2v1, but because they're just a little bit behind each other, they couldn't both get to the same gunfight, and therefore it's two separate 50-50 gunfights, both of which Juices ends up winning using the cover to his advantage. But I like this from Rebels, right? You're 6-3 up. You're, Falcons talking about how they gotta lock in this round, they might lose, they gotta do this and do that, and you play here, I play there. While that's happening, they're rushing a Bakery. Had there been a clean-cut kill on the Uses, they get Bakery control, waiting control, prep control, and now they can just kind of slow down the round, get the Ash upstairs, do some verticality, then use the glass blitz later on. But because they lose 2 members, it's time to go for broke. They're desperate, they have to go for a crazy play, and they miss all their shots. Even just one player, Mato on the blitz, left alive in Bakery.
I'd be impressed if he gets this done. 1v4 into a 1v3. Gas keeps him at bay. 2 more gas in pocket, and the impact for Leakafak as well. It's not a good day to be a blitz player, that's for sure. He's worried about cameras, he's worried about any gadgets that might be giving an advantage to Falcons. The plan here is going to be nigh impossible.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. He has no smoke grenades either.
They know exactly how to play this, don't they? Long angle. He tries to contest it with the pistol, but Brede gets him. And that's the round. Another step closer towards overtime. Look, if G2 can do it, then surely Falcons can do it too.
It's not a matter of can they do it. It's more a matter of like, should they need to, right? Like how the rounds have been playing out has just been Rebels being better, which is the thing that we're not expecting. But since the side swap, things have slowly started to shift. There's a bit more life there. It still feels like Rebels are winning and losing rounds based off their own game plan. Like it wasn't like they got outplayed by Falcons in that previous round. It's that they ran in Bakery, they took a gamble, and they lost it. That's it. They lost 2 players. Round ended right then and there because Uses got 2 kills. That's Rebels going for a push and Uses winning a gunfight. It's rarely Falcons making the play and being the ones in control, and that's the thing that's curious to me. Rebels have called the timeout. It's the tail end of it right now. They need to just talk about one more round. They can talk about what they think the next bomb site will be and tailor a strat. They can talk about general habits, things to look out for, maybe an operator shift to change into the lineup. They can talk about, just one round, or they can talk about the general term in case they go into OT. That's the kind of decision you gotta make right now if you're having a tactical, because you might need to go to overtime.
Yeah, you never know. It's a problem. I think GK might have got a little bit too ahead of themselves. They might let that jitter creep in their game against G2 earlier. Rebels cannot afford the same thing. I mean, an overtime loss is so far cry from what you think you're on the verge of achieving when you're at 6-3. That said, if Falcons are able to bring it back just like G2 did, I think that I would be more impressed and have more faith in Falcons
Bomb located
if
by
they are
a
down
company.
6-3
10
and then
seconds
bring
left
it back
before
and win 8-6 or 8-7 compared to if they had won 7-1, right? Because let's be honest, winning 7-1 doesn't actually tell you a lot about a team. So is that a good day? It might tell you that the other team had a bad day.
Yeah.
It might have told you that they just prepared really well for the veto of the specific map. But if you ever come back from a 6-3 or worse, that is damn impressive. Because it's not just about the gameplay, it's also about your ability to overcome these big mental hurdles that you have to deal with when you're down by such a deficit.
Yeah. I mean, I see your point there. It makes a lot of sense to me as well. Also, starting side, some maps are just attacker or defender favored. You can win 7-1, but just having like a 5-1 half on the much stronger side. Like Skyscraper, back when that was in Pro League, or Theme Park, I feel like when it first came out, they were oppressively good for defenders. So attackers often had a 5-1, maybe or a 1-5 or 0-6 start set sometimes. Doesn't tell the full story at all. And I also just want to see what Falcons can figure out, round by round, what Rebels are doing well, what they can counter, what fixes they can implement themselves. Because historically, Falcons have always been a good team when it came to problem solving. Like Leagueifag is one of the greatest IGLs of the modern era of Siege, and he can play so many different styles of the game. We saw how they started attack and how they finished attack. That was two different kinds of teams, but it was still Falcons.
I got a question for you, because obviously we're going through our technical pause, our rehost at the moment, so maybe we can podcast a little bit. Obviously, Europe, they have a lot of influence from the way that Brazil has kind of engineered and pioneered the way that Siege has played over the last few years. We've got IGLs like Alamau and coaching staff in the region, of course, Julio, for example. But both Europe and Brazil fell off quite significantly in Salt Lake City compared to North America, who kind of took center stage. The meta in Siege is ever evolving. It never slows down. It never stops changing. Are we perhaps moving a little bit further away from that gap-finding meta that we were in for such a long time? Obviously, we used to talk about split theory and the split meta or whatever, and then we kind of just said, oh, that's part of it. Now it's about gap-finding, and it's about abusing all the meta-ops while you're gap-finding and using shields. But now there's just so much in the game, and North America has traditionally been a little bit more structured. Not always, but a little bit more structured. Is this kind of, are we starting to see a peek into a new meta that might not favor teams like Falcons and G2's playstyle?
I honestly haven't given this too much thought. Since I stopped playing and became a caster instead, I try and just kind of see what the current teams are doing, and then see like what would I change from this if I could. I think the meta has become so much more like whitewashed. Like, it used to be like heavy util meta, think LMG meta, upnate meta, like very specific things. And then, like you said, we had like the gap finding meta, and then we had like the utility operators that like power ups, as we say, like your Dokkaebi, your Grim, your Capital, etc., shields. I don't feel like there's a ton of different distinctions from like NA, EU, Brazil, this team in Europe and that team in Europe. It feels like a lot of like the same pool of really strong operators, and then you pick the ones that you like most, or the ones that aren't banned, rather than Hungry made a tweet about this recently. I feel like I always bring up Hungry today, saying that he wished more teams were experimenting and cooking up new stuff. And when I'm jokingly mentioning like Rook, Thunderbird and things like that, banning Warden, playing Glass Ying, small stuff. It does feel a bit to me as a spectator these days that a lot of teams have a very similar identity, because there's a lack of like really big distinction. We had Supremacy back in the day that would always play to the last literal 5 seconds of a round. We had Dark Zero Canadian, the most structured team in the world, right? There was all these distinct teams. And now I'm like, well, this team is a little bit better with shields, or these guys are a bit faster, or these guys are more aggressive or confident, but they all play the same operators, more or less.
Yeah. There's just so much more different things going on. It's so much more complicated than back in the day, where every single round you're playing Goyo, Wamai, Yoga, Smoke, and Valkyrie, right?
Think of like 2018, right? And 2019, we had what we call the 3+2 meta on both attack and defense. That was that you had 3 defenders and attackers that you would pick every single round, and you had +2. That could be any operator in the game. So some teams love the Glass. They play like, think of NIP for example. They play Glass before and after it was meta. Some teams, they play Capital a lot when no one else was doing it. So much freedom. But today, I feel like you just have to pick 5 of the 8 giga broken operators and just kind of, you work with that. And the only influence is like if they're banned or not, or what map or bombs that you're attacking.
When we talk about the meta, we almost always are talking about what are the broken operators, what are the really good operators right now, who's been nerfed, who's been buffed, who's been released. I don't think it's a hot take, but I have an interesting thought. I think the biggest thing to ever affect the way Siege is played has nothing to do with what operators have been just released or buffed or nerfed. And can you guess what I'm going to say? What single change has been made to the game that isn't an operator getting buffed or nerfed or released that has changed the meta at a pro level?
Attacker repick?
Exactly. It's attacker repick. Because what you were saying about the 3+2, right? As an attacking squad, you always just had to pick 5 operators that would be good enough at whatever you had to deal with, right?
Yeah.
And you don't know if they're going to pick Bandit or Cade. So you just have to bring Thatcher. You have to bring Maverick. You don't know if they're going to bring XYZ. Now you see that they've got an Echo and a Maestro, and you're like, okay, maybe we bring Brava, maybe we bring Twitch, maybe, okay, maybe we won't bring the Shield this round. They had Flash, and then it's could change the way that people attack, which then change the way people defend, because you can't just play a certain defending operator without knowing, like, you can't just pick a cheese pick that can be countered easily by an attacker, unless if you actively hide it in prep phase. It's made the game so much more complicated.
Think of Maestro, right? Like, we all know that if the difference between Maestro and attacks like Brava, and now Maestro is like counterproductive because it works against your team. If attacker repick wasn't in the game, or you only had, let's say, 6 pick like back in the past, it would be very expensive to go into the Brava if they also brought a clash with Maestro. Because now Brava is good for one but not the other. I'm with you. I think attacker repick has changed a lot about the game. And in some ways, it takes away creativity and risking of trying new stuff. Because you might play a weak strat on paper that will work if they're not ready for it. Or that's attacker repick, you can technically have the best 5 attackers every single round.
But it's also the opposite, because before attacker repick, you would never have seen an operator like Spence or Rayora or Amaru almost ever pick. Like, back in the day, if you wanted to go for an Amaru rush, you had to just decide before you knew what they were going to play.
I guess we're doing it, boys.
I guess we're doing it, even if they've got a Frostmat under the window. I guess I'm still playing Amaru.
That's a good point. For this one, though, Rebels choose all the 5 attacks they would like to play, and they pick the pretty vanilla lineup, but they trade 1 for 1 in blows. Feyenoord gets a kill to League Effect, but use trace with a C4 right back onto him. So Nomad is no more in the server. That's active utility, whereas League Effect on Melusi is passive, right? All those Banshees are pre-placed. They're gonna keep hubbing out Falcons for the remainder of this round. We still got a minute and 30 to go, so a ton of time.
Yeah, if you're Falcons, you are more than happy to take 1 for 1 trades here. You want to whittle it down into, if it comes down to it, a 1v1 with 10 seconds to play, you would take that gamble any second of the day when you're on the defensive side. But Rebels are the ones with match point and only 2 chances to lock it in before Falcons push OT.
And they called the tag time up before the technical rehost, so they're talking about what they want to do in this round. Right now, they're fishing for a Kite Claw, and if it's positioned in the wrong corner or right on the hatch, it might be very hard to clear it, but they do find it eventually. The second one pre-placed right after. This hatch is not gonna get opened up, James, and that is gonna change plan A into plan B, because they needed that hatch.
It's a huge loss there for Rebels. Big play from Brede to trick that hatch actively with the Electric Claw from the Kaid. The devil's in the details when it comes down to 30 seconds and a 4v4.
No diffuser in hand right now either. It's dropped on the red stairs top floor, and if they don't realize this and no one picks it up, they're not even gonna have a chance at planting. Look at this, he's creeping right below the vertical hose, the balls of steel, looking at the angle. This might just catch Rebels by surprise, and they just picked up the diffuser to go for a red stairs execute. They're inside the bombs, and they could just go for a plant quickly.
Oh, this is so risky from Asa. There's no smoke coverage. He is so vulnerable, but there is some help from the rest of Rebels to try and make sure the plant will be confirmed. But now in a 1v4 into the post plant, it's all up to Marto. As so many players from Falcons flood into his position, one by one they take him down, and they get on that diffuser. Linko might get the kill on the Solotov with the track stingers, but it doesn't matter because Falcons take another stride towards OT.
Oh boy, the comeback is happening 1 round at a time, but the rounds are getting closer and closer. So while the plan was being attempted there, 1 player got injured and 1 player died. And once you know that happens and you get down that diffuser, you're in the middle of the bomb site with only 1 teammate to back you up, and you're getting attacked from 4 different positions. So you're as good as dead unless you're a Monty, and he wasn't, he was a sledge. So the postman is Mato downstairs in a pretty bad angle. You know, had he been upstairs in piano, maybe that's winnable. Had he been asked the window and rappel, maybe with some air tips or claymores, that's winnable too. But when you're in the bottom of red stairs against 4 defenders, you're just not gonna win. Not realistically speaking. And Rebels, much like GK earlier, when you've had this massive lead and we heard the player comments when they were winning the rounds, they were screaming, they were so fired up. That smile on their faces, it's slowly fading. And the confidence, the ego is fitting into questioning yourself. A bit of doubt, thinking, oh my god, we're throwing it, we had it, we could have done that, should have done that, why did we make this mistake? Meanwhile, Falcons, they're just building into peak form, playing a little bit better every single round.
Here's some momentum.
All it takes is one attacking round from Rebels. That's all it takes. But like you say, Falcons are brick by brick building their way back into this game. Last chance for Rebels to get maximum points out of this game and get it done before OT. They're dealing with the Solars. That's something they haven't had to worry about as much before. I believe we're at Fireplace Dining for this bomb site. Yep. So Falcons are kind of repeating a little bit of the same interpretation that they played it last time around. It was quite a hard attack for Rebels the last time they played it. Likafak ended up being the instrumental player for Falcons. Into the top floor, Rebels go, uses, jumps down for one, but he is immediately traded back. Could argue that's a worthwhile trade for both teams. Depends on what happens next. And next up is Solotov trying to get out of dodge, falling back deeper and deeper towards the site as Rebels look to take the top floor.
They're inside piano, but no information, trying to shoot through the smoke, wallbanging, softballs. They have no knowledge of where these defenders are playing from. But Lingo might have the opening of a lifetime right now.
Oh no!
Right before it happens!
Oh no!
The funds too! It's Martin and Lemsch outside the building, and top floor and third bar has to make the play. Lemsch and Delas has to be to the same pocket.
This was so close to being perfect for Lingo. Likafak all the way outside of garage. Important kill here to come, but Joom is the one to send us all the way for Falcons and into overtime. They saw what G2 did earlier today and they look to repeat the cycle. Rebels have let their lead slip through their fingers.
Oh man, what a slow start Falcons had today. You know, G2 had some life, just some unfortunate moments and Twisted Minds playing a hell of a game. But Falcons, they were getting destroyed the first like 7 rounds of this game. And now it's shifted. And the thing that's actually stayed the same, it's Rebels controlling the pace every round, right? This is like Feno getting a kill and traded by a jump out. Then they rappel in, they push the long bar, they take the fights. It's Rebels making the first move time and time again. But Falcons started to shoot back. And now they are fired up too.
You know what? At this point, is it just a game of who plays defense?
I mean,
who's playing defense right now, Pengu?
Well, it's Falcons.
It's Falcons, isn't it? It's they're gonna do it, aren't they? They're gonna win 8-7.
10 seconds left before
Or it's the other story where it's like they fought so hard to get to OT and they lose 8-7 or 8.
They lose 8-7. They lose the final round. Rebels win an attack.
They could have lost like 40 minutes ago, but they wanted to go the distance.
Swapping backs.
I mean, there's 2 ways to play this, right? Either you keep bringing out more and more pocket strats and just like either you're very creative and good on the fly, or you have a big strat pool because Rebels keeping out new operators is super interesting, or you just do your basic ABC and you try and do them perfectly. It still feels like to me the Rebels are the ones trying to control everything. They bring out the flavor operators, they bring the push, they try and control the pace, whereas Falcons are doing more or less the same thing the majority of the rounds. Similar operators, similar positions. So I'm curious if this Sen splits can work out, or if what happened last time where they just forced Bakery and died will happen again.
So what I was saying before about attack and repick, it enables creativity from the attack. You can say, okay, we see what bomb side it is, we're gonna see what operator, we see this stuff. We can play the sense. We can play the blitz. But I like the way Green is using the Tuber Hours, Zoto canisters, to actually stop the blitz from sprinting at him. That's why he threw one so deep. It stops the blitz from making that first move.
I like this as well. Speeding out, just right. Toxic Babes, C4 in the smoke is quite nice because it's actually shrouded. But they're baiting on utility. This is good. Like, they're doing nothing technically speaking right now for Rebels, but they are getting something out of it. It just takes a while to get there. There's two more toxic babes in pocket actually. But do they have the balls to go for another push? They could just win or lose the round off the rip. Well, Doom goes down, so it pays off for now.
That's a big gap. I don't know how Doom has allowed himself to get overexposed like that. In such a pivotal position outside is Fenno. He's opened up a wide hole onto Bride's position. Bride is really a hell in a cell. He's trying to hold on for as long as he possibly can. The death mark will fail.
Ooh.
But it rotates from Inko. He wants to try and find an opening inside a bakery, but the rest of Rebels needs to sell it on this side. They need to show that it is a push on this rear angle. And the Lems is the one pushing. Solotov bait into peeking, a second kill, and Rebels have fought their way inside of the building. Oh, another one! As Leak of Fact will fall, the pistol gets active. It's Usus up against the world 1v5. 30 seconds to play. He sees one, takes Fenno's head clean off finally, puts it to rest. But the job's not done yet. 25 bullets remain, and the Scorpion needs to push deep for this kill. Is about to get tracked by that Deimos. The Lems will take matters into his own hands. The script is flipped again, Pengu. Rebels have won a round on attack.
And they got the momentum. Again, they always control where the play is happening and when it is happening. And unlike the previous rounds where it's 3-2-1, it's full sended, it was 3-2-1, fake it, 3-2-1, fake it. And they find the first pick on Doom overextending, and they found a second later on as well with the DMRs from outside the building. And when they had the 5v3, that's when they actually did the push. They sensed, they smoked, blitz pushed down the hallway, and then also burned all the Soto canisters from Greedy with the Deimos Trackers previously. So Asta could get the blind for free, because the freeze works like a, it slows you down and makes it a little bit harder for this to work.
Nothing quite like the sounds of the excited French. Nothing quite like it. One more, and all they need is a defense. They won 5 defense now in a row. Yeah, and look, the only attack round Falcons won in that first half was their very first attack. It was onto Reading Room Fireplace, not Kitchen and Cooking, like we see Rebels taking us to now.
Hiding the Clash as well at the minute, so they are trying to just have that surprise factor. Look at the attacking lineup. Not a ton of things right now are being attack or repick that deals with the Clash. Like,
wow.
Like nothing directly engages besides the Capita, but Glass could be good. Deimos could be good, like grenades in general. But Clash is a very big stopping power for this kind of push operate lineup that they have.
Yeah, you need, ideally with what Falcons have got right now, you need to take Rebels by surprise, because if you give Rebels time to rotate their Clash into position, your Glass isn't going to have the impact you need.
Glass shooting the window also shows exactly what's waiting for them, right? Like a lot of teams will try to hide the glass by not using the primary DMR at all, and just have other teammates shoot the windows for you and such. Now there's, oh guys, there's a Clash. If you see a smoke grenade, hide from it. Like don't even try and peek it. Bit of a whiff them, switch from that's alright, Lem. You've done a great job so far this game besides this very moment. And yeah, Clash is gonna be pivotal. Where you think the main push is gonna come from is where you gotta put a Lem on the Clash to just stop that push from happening. But that's also where Falcons can try and do what Rebels have been doing so well. You fake it, right? You fake the push. Oh, guys, look over here. The Clash rotates over, but the actual attack happens elsewhere, and the Clash can't get there in time. That would be the perfect scenario.
Well, thankfully, Alems is finally able to take down that first twist round from Solotov. A lot of value there. Of course, we've got Vulcan canisters from Goyo. You need to take down, ideally. Ground can that be taken? Oh, that's high back. Ooh, my God. Good spray from Fenno. This might be the way. The Falcons let it go by. June wants to go deep. He gets sprayed through. The peak from Fenno again. He finds two, finally put to rest, but the damage has been done. And now desperation starts to set in for Falcons. Out comes the final Twitch drone from Solotov. What can he find? A little bit of info. Spots out the Clash, spots out the Scopos. Any util to speak of, it's done. No more Twitch drone, and so can go all the way back up to the top
this
floor.
again.
The most Scopos I have seen ever in a game of Rainbow Six Siege, and it seems to be working out just fine for Rebels.
I think they have an inkling. Soldier finds a kill onto the bomb side as well, beating that area. Here comes the push. Oh, Pilot's got Nick Dust.
This could be it, though. The player going for the flank. Users goes around, stabs him in the back.
Hold.
Marto might just be able to make this work, but Solotov's in the perfect position.
Imagine.
If he gets done this time, surely not! Oh my god! The plant is down! Can he stick it now? Users has to play this perfectly, otherwise Marto is gonna clip bomb all over him! Goes for the shots! And it's the most unbelievable